known to everyone. Yet, I do not see it getting adequately discussed or invested across the lengths and breadths of corporate India. So, I want to check how ready each one of us is on the aspect of cybersecurity. In a global IT spending intentions survey across mid-sized organizations, 64% of them responded that their IT environments have become a lot more complex in the last 2 years, thanks to increase in data volume, thanks to increase in number of users and types of users, and thanks to the requirement of having a mix of public cloud and private cloud. When we at Dell also spoke to our partners and customers, we noticed that in addition to these three, they had some more concerns, like they have a very limited staff and they have a limited understanding of how attacks can be prevented, and they still continue to have the impacts of limited budgets. So much so that they think that they would want to look at cyber attacks as a strategy, they're not able to deal with it. And as you can see here, cyber attacks are headlines across all kinds of Indian organizations. So, if you look at global data, you'll see that really nobody is immune. Bad actors target businesses of all sizes and across all industries, as you can see here. Trends like remote working, increasing data, increased adoption of cloud, etc., are creating great opportunities for us, as we all can see. But they are also leading to greater potential for cyber attack, and in some cases now, greater potential for damage more than ever. We've seen the emergence of companies who are born on the cloud and rely on the digital platform and data as their very identity. I think the stakes for them couldn't be higher. Attackers can move along this cutting edge technology transformation, exploiting vulnerabilities as per the World Economic Forum. Even before the pandemic outbreak happened, 61% of large businesses reported an attack on them the last 12 months or so. And in the last 2 years of pandemic, this has increased three times, and now it's like every 11 seconds there is a cyber attack happening in one place or the other. And many times they are often going undetected. On average, advanced cyber attacks go undetected for as much as 197 days, or like 6 months. So I hope by now, having shown you data and what's happening across the world, I'm able to convince you that cyber threats are really big and important for us to take care of. Now, when it's important, we expect to deal with it, right? However, when I broach the topic of cyber security as a strategy, mostly my CIO colleagues point to their drilled readiness about disaster recovery and how they are well prepared. But friends, cyber recovery is not equal to disaster recovery. In fact, it goes more beyond what you plan for a DR. Recovery from a destructive cyber attack solves for a different type of disaster than what you plan for and can be ready for, from recoveries from power outages, flood, fire, or similar events like that. Cyber attacks are typically not limited to a specific location, but their impact can often be felt globally, and hence, with traditional disaster recovery systems in place, it might not be enough. Now, when it's important, we expect to deal with it, right? But whenever I speak about the topic of cyber strategy to my CIO friends, what I mostly hear is how well prepared they are on disaster recovery. But friends, cyber recovery is not equal to disaster recovery. In fact, cyber recovery goes much beyond what we call as our DR plans. Firstly, cyber recovery and the destruction of cyber attacks goes beyond the things that we plan for in a DR, which is in place because of a fire or a flood or something like that. Also, cyber attacks are more global in nature and are often timed across all locations at the same time, so much so that it's probably not enough to have a dispersed data center strategy as a basic way to combat recovery. Cyber recovery procedures are also often more involved and iterative because cyber security teams have to work with forensics to get things up and ready. Net, what I'm trying to say is that let's not expect a DR plan to be enough to tackle the menace of cyber security that comes from cyber attacks. Let me delve a bit deeper into what I'm saying. Ransomware and bad actors have learned that they have a better chance of achieving their goal if no backup is available for recovery. Now, this has placed the backup under direct attack. Unfortunately, there are several vulnerable points because backups were designed for accessibility and not necessarily for security. Number one, IT and backup admins are main targets for compromise through a variety of attacks because their access is trusted and can easily be the effective change agent to carry out an attack. Number two, the master servers often contain a catalog of data, and encrypting or deleting this data can make a backup take much longer, and in some cases may even keep the backup from being used for recovery. The same thing applies for media servers and things being stored on your media servers. Same thing on files, systems, tapes, and clouds. They may hold backups, but are also being targeted. Tapes, you can say, may be offline, but generally require a catalog to put online for speedy recovery. The cloud is also not an inherently secure location for backups. It's just a different production environment. But data there can be usually deleted immediately by anyone with access privileges, and we know that cloud is always available for access. So what I'm saying is that ransomware can target the core of what you think is being preserved and is safe. So you can say, where am I going with all this? Well, I'm going to tell you that you require a strategy to combat and counter cyber attacks, and you need that strategy to be cyber resilient. In our digital work with reliance on data and real-time access on any device from any location, it is more difficult to be resilient on what we currently think we are doing. It would require more technology capabilities and it would require more people. You require a framework like the NIST framework that is being spoken about in the US, or something else, which is a strategy that incorporates people, process, and technology into a holistic framework that can protect your entire organization. And once you have thought about it, I would say that let's focus a bit now on cyber recovery. As I said, almost everybody is susceptible to this attack. And hence, cyber recovery becomes an intrinsically bigger part of a cyber resilience strategy. Cyber recovery distinguishes itself from traditional backup and disaster recovery plans in several ways. It provides additional layers of physical and logical security at the solution, system, and data level to ensure critical data can be preserved with integrity, confidentiality, and to ensure that it is available when needed. It's also focused upon protecting the critical portion of your data from cyber threats and keep it away from the attack surface, and then enable the recovery of that data from an isolated environment as and when necessary. Delving a bit more deeper into cyber recovery, I would say cyber recovery is not as simple as a traditional DR. We need to ensure that there are three elements to your cyber recovery strategy. Number one is isolation. Physical, via either a locked up vault on-prem or in an off-prem or a cloud-based vault. The physical and logical separation of the cyber recovery vault from the attack surface of production and backup infrastructure is one critical pillar that we must have. The second thing is immutability. ensuring that data that you are backing up or restoring is the same copy of what you have lost. So preserve the originality of data and integrity of data. The third is intelligence, applying innovative and comprehensive set of tools and analytics, including learning through machine learning and AI within the security of the vault to identify potential cyber threats is one key part of your cyber recovery strategy or solution. Now, solutions which have one or two of these aspects, uh, can be feature of a backup or a DR solution is useful, but it should not be expected to provide the same level of cyber resilience and protection that is required when one faces a sophisticated cyber attack. From my vantage point, what does best look like for cyber recovery is something like this, and whatever solutions provide. Uh, while there could be a good or a better, I think the best is what keeps you best protected from cyber recovery threats which come up in your organization. An automated vaulted air gap, data that cannot be fully protected unless it's offline and inaccessible to bad actors. Second, full content indexing with AI and ML. Protected data is analyzed on a full content basis and not just metadata, and evaluated by an ML and AI engine which constantly keeps learning. Third, an enhanced recovery with a set of solutions which makes it fastest and safest. And fourth, sheltered harbor based agreement, which is an agreement that shows that this technology has been provided and proved on standards and results. Net, what am I saying is that cyber recovery is an important solution to understand because it protects your organization and business from potential destruction. And not all solutions are created equally. If there are three messages I could leave with you in my talk today, those will be: number one, cybersecurity is an important thing for your organization to think about and must be planned now. Number two, cyber recovery differs from disaster recovery, and you must plan for all its aspects to be safe. Third, optimum solutions to tackle cyber threats exist. Organizations like Dell Technologies can help you ramp up on your readiness to cyber threats. So I hope you all will take note of this important thing to do and protect your businesses as you keep growing. Thank you and have a wonderful day.